Hey guys, it's Bill from Linden, Tennessee. I kind of ran into a bit of a problem. You can tell that I took my mounts off. I have to start over with all these mounts. Here's a picture to show you why. Yes, so that is about 4.5 inches of total ground clearance without a load in the bed. If I had a couple 100 pounds of something or other in the bed, that would lower that motor down even closer to the ground. 4.5 is not good enough, and less is even worse. So I need to raise this whole motor up about 2 inches. That would make me feel a whole lot better. Really, it'd be better to raise it more, and I might raise it 3. That would be great. The reason why it is where it is because you see my axle tube right there is I marked it where the axle was. That's where it was almost hitting, and I didn't want to trim that axle tube, but I'm going to have to do it anyway. I'm going to have to do both of them. I mean, that's okay. I hate to do it, but I don't have a whole lot of room to trim, but I'm going to have to take it back as far as I can, basically all the way to the leaf, and give myself enough room on each side of those these bolts here to give them enough meat to chew into. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna have to do. I have to. I can't have it hang that low. The first thing to hit would be the inverter, and anything bigger than a dead squirrel would just ruin it. So that's not good. So I'm gonna raise this thing up about 2 inches and see what it looks like. And all right, we'll give that a shot. We'll get back to you later. First of all, if y'all made it to the end of part 1, congratulations. That's quite an accomplishment. I talked briefly about maybe putting a drive unit in the front here. The front drive unit is the same as the back drive unit, except it's flipped around backwards so that the motor and the inverter and all that stuff would go here. And I have a cavernous spot for it. This was already front wheel drive. I just have to make half shafts, motor mounts, basically the same thing that I did in the back. I just have to do in the front. And I got kind of giggly because it's a really cool idea, and it would make a really, really neat, fast little pickup truck. However, I'm not going to do that. First of all, it's just going to cost a lot more money. I mean, another $1,200, you know, what's that in the grand scheme of things? And it makes more complication. And the whole point of this little truck is to be efficient and as light as possible. And if I put that drive unit in the front, that's an extra 200 plus pounds worth of stuff up there. A lot more complication, more wiring, not a lot, but more wiring, extra long cables, heavy cables, an extra load on the batteries, just more stuff. And then also, if that motor's there, then my battery box in the front has to get lifted up higher, which sort of screws up the center of gravity a little bit. And I wouldn't be able to have a front trunk, which I'm kind of looking forward to being able to make something for that. I think that'd be pretty cool. But, so we're not going to do that as much as I'd want to, maybe some other day. But let's talk about the drive unit. I think I told you about how, let's get the light out of the way so we can find you by the light. How this thing was just riding too dang low before. And so what I did was I cut out all those brackets, front and the rear brackets, cut all those things out, and I had to make some new ones. I was pretty lucky in the back. All I had to do in the back was just shorten or raise this hole up. I raised the whole motor up about 2 inches. So I raised that hole up about 2 inches. I didn't have to remake that at all. I had to cut these little pieces, that I've got it boxed in. I had to cut those and kind of trim this out a little bit. But it was certainly easier than the front one. I had to redo the front one completely, but I think it's a much better looking mount than it was before. Before it had that weird little merc thing on it, and I never liked how it looked, but it was functional. But now it doesn't have that anymore. I'm pretty happy about that. I also kind of leveled the drive unit a little bit before that back little knob right there, that little triangle right there, that was sticking down maybe an inch lower than the front. But now I've got the front and that little knob roughly the same height. I think in the car originally, this front part would have been lower than the back. Probably made that connector horizontal. I don't know. I don't care. This is how it is. And yeah, so I got that done today. Got it all wired up, got it all set up there. And I was gonna tackle the side mount. I haven't done that yet. But then I wanted to double check one more time. I wanted to check my distance between the DD onto here and the half shafts to make sure that this thing is square with the chassis. And it wasn't. It was off by about 1/4 of an inch. So that sucked. And I could have lived with it, I guess. It wouldn't have made a big deal. It wouldn't really have been noticeable, but I would have knowed. So I cut this rear bracket out again. It's about the 3rd time I cut this out, so all this metal up here is getting kind of chunked up pretty good. I had to re-weld that in. It's getting beat up pretty bad. Like I said before, I'm gonna take a triangulated piece and just come across here, and it'll just be a lot more secure. I'll come up here and weld it on the front, and then come around and weld it on the inside as well, and do that on both sides. And that'll give me a lot more strength. So that's pretty good. One thing you may notice, is the half shafts are at an angle now, more than they were, because the whole thing's lifted up 2 inches. Of course, they were fairly level before. Now, granted, I don't have the full weight of the drive unit resting on the suspension. It's still being partially supported on the side there by that jack, keeping it level. So I need to make that side mount somehow. Not exactly sure I'm going to do that. I don't think I'm going to be able to use this side mount, the factory mount. I wanted to before. It was just sitting in there, something like that, and that was bolted to the motor. I'd like to use this just for some vibration isolation, maybe noise, I don't know, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. I don't know, yeah, because I raised the whole thing up 2 inches, and this could only come down about 1 inch before it hit, and then there's another inch above. I don't know. I'll have to see. I may be able to cut that plate out that this was bolted to. I'm able to cut that plate out, shorten it a little bit, and then slide it up between those little frame rails over there. Let's go look. Hold on. Okay. My hand it. Thanks. All right. So yeah, that was the top bracket there. What I may be able to do is cut those tacks off, and then cut like a 1/2 inch or so off of that, and put it up between those 2 frame rails there, and possibly weld it along the bottom of the bed, weld it along the inside, like I was going to do anyway, sort of right there, along that edge, weld it in there, just weld the hell out of it really, and then use those same bolt mounts, and that might fit, I don't know. But what happened tonight is when I had to reset that rear mount, time just got away from me, and what'll happen is, like, you just get tired and you start getting in a hurry, and everything just starts to go wrong. There's all kinds of crap all over the floor, pieces of metal, little pieces of MIG wire, cables, wires, just crap everywhere. Your creeper gets stuck on it, you get stuck, your leg hits something, you hit your funny bone, and basically it just goes to hell. So whenever things like that happen, it's just time to stop. I'm not in a huge hurry. I'm not going to have this thing running by the next weekend, so I wanted to get that back mount done for sure, and that's a good stopping place. So I'll work on this some more this weekend, some more for the rest of the week. And oh, this is that little angle finder thing that I was telling you about. These are really neat. They're on Amazon. They're really cheap. But all I did was just sort of set it up. Where we at? Well, you can't. Maybe you can see it. If you can see it, it says roughly 0. You set it up there, and then you come up here, and you just set it on the half shafts and make them the same. And that makes this thing level, obviously. And that's that. I measured those distances. I got these even closer this time than they were before, so that's cool. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that is it for now. I appreciate you watching. We'll catch you next time.